Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Hello and welcome back to the Ask Ralph Show. I am really happy that you decided to join us today. If you've never listened to the show, we do this show every week on Saturday mornings. We also release our show as a podcast that you can find at the AskRalph.com website or where you normally get your podcasts. Now, today we're going to talk about a topic that I think is very appropriate for right now, and that's how to choose a tax preparer. 4 ways to do this, especially this year. You know, we are in the midst of tax filing season, and my calendar is pretty full right now, as a matter of fact. But I do have a few openings. But, you know, I think it's important to talk about, what are the things that you should be looking at when you're looking to hire a tax preparer. So let's start right from the jump, and that is check for the right qualifications. This is a fact that is just as concrete can get. I have a master's degree. I have a license to practice accounting in the state of Delaware. Now, that being said, I'm a professional. This is what I do full time. But you need to understand that sometimes when you're going to some of the other tax preparing houses or the big box stores, like some of them, I'm not going to name them, but you may be dealing with somebody who had just completed a 6-week tax course, and that's it. As accountants, we have varying levels of training and skills. You might as well get your money's worth. And the truth is, I've seen in my own practice when people come in with booklets from some of these other places, the fees that they're charging there are equal to, or in some cases greater than the fees that I charge. And this is what I do for a living. This isn't a part-time thing for me. So you want to be looking for someone who is licensed. If you're going to use an accountant, you can go to the Delaware Board of Accountancy and actually look up to see if the person you are working with has a license to practice public accounting. And that's important because you want to make sure that you're working with somebody that knows what they're doing, and this is not just a hobby that they do during tax filing season. Now, the second thing you need to consider, though, is figure out what your fees will entail. Clearly the drawback of hiring a tax preparer is having to pay for that service. But if you do your research, you might keep that cost manageable. And that's what I'm talking about. If you really take a look, I think it's funny. One of the big tax preparation groups, I'm not going to mention any names, H&R Block, this year is talking about, their transparent pricing, know what you're going to pay. Well, here's the problem with that logic. If I've never done work for you before and you call me on the telephone and say, hey, Ralph, what is it going to cost to prepare my tax return? I have no idea because I don't know what you have, what I'm going to get into to maximize your tax, economies. It may require us to do additional work, but we never do work if it doesn't pay off for you to do it or if you have to do it. So you need to understand what your fees are. But you also have to realize that it's a cost-benefit analysis. I've said this from the beginning of when I started my practice. You get what you pay for in life. If you pay a reasonable fee, you will get a reasonable service. If you pay a low fee, you're going to get a low service. So, that's why the turbo taxes of this world and the other downloadable things, okay, fine. They're probably fine if you've got a very simple tax return. But the issue is that most of the people that I see don't have those simple tax returns, and that stuff will mess you up in a heartbeat. And that's why it makes sense to, like we said, check for the right qualifications and then look at the fees. We quote clients a fee when they call that is a base fee. That we don't do any returns for less than, in our particular case, $300 is our minimum fee. And that minimum fee is going to get you like your 1040, your Schedule A, if it's applicable in one state. We're also going to give you a lot of other features that go along with that. But that's where we start. And it's impossible for us to say, okay, well, it's going to be exactly $412. No one's going to be able to tell you that. Okay, number 3, find out whether you'll get audit support. This is a big one. You can be as honest with the IRS as possible and have the most meticulous tax preparer in the world, and sometimes your return might get flagged for an audit nonetheless. Since that possibility always exists, one thing you should be sure to inquire about is whether the tax preparer you hire will provide audit support in the event you need it. And that's where you need to get a good understanding of what you are getting for the money you're paying. Now, in our particular case, we do that automatically. If we make a mistake and you get audited, we're going to represent you. If it's not something that we did and you're getting audited, we are still available to represent you. In fact, we have what's called an accounting assurance plan where you can pay us a monthly fee. It includes your tax preparation as well as, audit support. And an audit could be something as simple as you get a letter from the IRS that says, hey, Mr. Jones, we noticed that you didn't report a stock sale that you had, and now you owe us $3,000. In that case, it could be something as simple as you didn't let the tax preparer know about it, so we had to fix that. But that's something we definitely offer, and it's something you need to ask about. And see, that's where you get into a problem with a lot of these people who do this on the side. They might be a landscaper during the rest of the year, but then they do taxes when it's cold outside. And are they really going to be available to you when you need that support, when you get that notice next summer, in the middle of July? Or, let's say you use one of the big tax warehouses, are those people going to be available? Probably not. They're just not going to be available to you, and they're not, that's not their full-time gig. And the final thing you want to talk about is ask about availability. Like I said at the beginning of this radio show or this podcast that, my calendar is getting busy. So you need to make a decision, and you need to make it pretty soon. If you're going to be using somebody like myself, because we are really getting up against the deadline. In fact, the business filing deadline is next Friday, March 15th. And then, of course, you've got the personal filing deadline on April 15th. But really, it's coming very quickly. And a lot of us who are professionals and have what I would say a good book of business are really starting to see our schedules fill up. So while I'm talking about that, if I can help you, if my firm can work with you, it's just me at my firm. I have 2 support staff who are great people. But as far as the accounting side goes, it's just me. So I work to develop relationships with my clients. You can go right to my website. That's askralph.com. That's ASKRALPH.com. You can take a look at what we offer. You can also, on the top right, click on schedule now, and you can actually schedule an appointment with us right there. Now, you can also, use the method of giving us a call, and one of my support staff will be happy to talk to you. But it's really the time to take and move on that, because we are really getting close to the point of having a full book, which is a great thing. But I also, I do this because I want to help people, and there's a lot of change this year. And I am a firm believer that as people start to look at doing their own tax returns, as people start to use some of the online software, they're not going to be happy with the results this year. And I got a feeling we are going to see sort of a mini revolt, if you will, where people are going to say, look, these numbers don't make any sense. And I've actually seen a couple of those people already who endeavored to use like TurboTax to do it themselves. And they came in and said, Ralph, look, when I did TurboTax, it was telling me that I was only getting this much back. And unfortunately, it was right, but they still thought that it made sense to talk to somebody because this was sort of a new situation based on the new tax code. So I hope that this, part of our podcast or show was helpful to you and helps you decide on, what are the things you're looking for when you're looking for a tax preparer. And like I said, remember, check their qualifications. Look at their fees. Will they offer you audit support? But basically, do they have availability at this point? Because you might find that a lot of people are booking up. So I hope this was helpful. I look forward to your questions. If you have any questions, you can contact us at askralph.com, and we'll be happy to help you. So have a great one.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware, and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.